Hello, readers. We're going to take another look at Tops and Bottoms, adapted and illustrated by Janet Stevens. Today, the skill that we're going to be working on together is called inferring. Okay? To infer means that readers use the clues in the story to help them understand what's happening. Okay? For example, we're going to listen to Ani read Tops and Bottoms one more time. And I'd like for you to pay close attention to why Bear was surprised every time he got tricked. We're going to infer. We're going to use clues from the pictures and clues from the text that will help us understand that a little bit more. I mean, those crops were growing right in front of his house. How did he not know what was going on? Why was he so surprised when Hare tricked him? Okay, let's listen to Ani read, and then we'll practice inferring together.
Tops and Bottoms, adapted and illustrated by Janet Stevens. Once upon a time, there lived a very lazy bear who had lots of money and lots of land. His father had been a hard worker and a smart business bear, and he had given all of his wealth to his son. But all Bear wanted to do was sleep. Not far down the road lived a hare. Although Hare was clever, he sometimes got into trouble. He had once owned land too, but now he had nothing. He had lost a risky bet with a tortoise and had sold all of his land to Bear to pay off the debt. Hare and his family were in very bad shape. "The children are so hungry, Father Hare. We must think of something," Mrs. Hare cried one day. So Hare and Mrs. Hare put their heads together and cooked up a plan. "Look at all those little rabbits. They have a very large family to feed." The next day, Hare hopped down the road to Bear's house. Bear, of course, was asleep. "Hello, Bear. Wake up. It's your neighbor, Hare, and I have an idea." Bear opened one eye and grunted. "We can be business partners," Hare said. "All we need is this field right here in front of your house. I'll do the hard work of planting and harvesting, and we can split the profit right down the middle. Yes, sir, Bear, we're in this together. I'll work and you sleep." "Huh?" said Bear. "So, what will it be, Bear?" asked Hare. "The top half or the bottom half? It's up to you, tops or bottoms." "Let's see," Bear said with a yawn. "I'll take the top half, Hare. Right, tops." Hare smiled. "It's a done deal, Bear." So Bear went back to sleep, and Hare and his family went to work. Hare planted, Mrs. Hare watered, and everyone weeded. Bear slept as the crops grew. When it was time for the harvest, Hare called out, "Wake up, Bear! You get the tops and I get the bottoms." Hare and his family dug up the carrots, the radishes, and the beets. Hare plucked off all the tops, tossed them into a pile for Bear, and put the bottoms aside for himself. Bear stared at his pile. "But Hare, all the best parts are in your half." "You chose the tops, Bear," Hare said. "Now, Hare, you've tricked me. You plant this field again, and this season I want the bottoms." Hare agreed. "It's a done deal, Bear." So Bear went back to sleep, and Hare and his family went to work. They planted, watered, and weeded. Bear slept as the crops grew. When it was time for the harvest, Hare called out, "Wake up, Bear! You get the bottoms and I get the tops." Hare and his family gathered up the lettuce, the broccoli, and the celery. Hare pulled off the bottoms for Bear and put the tops in his own pile. Bear looked at his pile and scowled. "Hare, you have cheated me again." "But Bear," Hare said, "you wanted the bottoms this time." Bear growled. "You plant this field again, Hare. You've tricked me twice. And you owe me 1 season of both tops and bottoms. You're right, poor old bear, sighed Hare. It's only fair that you get both tops and bottoms this time. It's a done deal, Bear. So Bear went back to sleep, and Hare and his family went to work. They planted, watered, and weeded, then watered and weeded some more. Bear slept as the crops grew. When it was time for the harvest, Hare called out, "Wake up, Bear! This time you get the tops and the bottoms." There, in front of Bear's house, lay a high field of corn. Hare and his family yanked up every cornstalk. Hare tugged off the roots at the bottom and the tassels at the top and put them into a pile for Bear. Then he carefully collected the ears of corn in the middle and placed them in his own pile. Bear rubbed his eyes and watched. "See, Bear? You get the tops and the bottoms. I get the middles. Yes, sir, Bear, it's a done deal." By now, Bear was wide awake. "That's it, Hare," he hollered. "From now on, I'll plant my own crops and take the tops, bottoms, and middles." Hare and his family scooped up the corn and hopped down the road toward home. Bear never again slept through a season of planting and harvesting. Hare bought back his land with the profit from the crops, and he and Mrs. Hare opened a vegetable stand. And although Hare and Bear learned to live happily as neighbors, they never became business partners again.
All right, friends, did you see any clues in the pictures as to why Bear was surprised? Did you hear any sentences or words in the text that gave you a clue as to why he was surprised each time he got tricked? Let's take a closer look at some of the pages in this book to find them. First of all, think about what character Bear is, what kind of character he is. We can see here on the very first page. Okay, what do you know about him as a character? It says, all Bear wanted to do was sleep. He was kind of lazy, remember? He didn't earn any of the money or the land on his own. It was given to him by his dad. All right, so I'm going to keep flipping through. I'm thinking about why Bear could possibly have been surprised when he was tricked. Well, here's in the beginning, right after Hare has made the deal with him to share the tops and bottoms. So Bear is snoozing in his chair. And there's Hare and his family. They're working hard to plant the seeds and water and weed. And on the next page, we can see that the crops are growing. And what's Bear doing? Sleeping. The text on this page even says, Bear slept as the crops grew. And on the next page, we've got that picture of Hare kind of patting Bear on the face, right? And he's saying, "Wake up, Bear! You get the tops and I get the bottoms." It tells us in the text that Hare has to yell, "Wake up!" So Bear is sleeping. Let's see, as we continue through the book, remember, Bear wants to do a flip-flop, right? This time he wants the bottoms and Hare gets the tops. Take a look. As these crops are growing, what's Bear doing? Sleeping. And when you're sleeping, are your eyes open? Are you paying any attention to what's happening around you? No. So of course, when Hare woke him up again, he was surprised because he wasn't watching what was happening on his own land. All right, so let's take what we know and we're going to respond. All right, in Seesaw, you're going to find 3.3 T and B Infer. Click Add Response, select your name and icon. Here on the page, it tells you exactly what your writing task is today. It says, Readers infer to help them understand what is happening in the story. Bear had the crops going right in front of his house. Why do you think he was surprised each time he was tricked? And how do you know? So what you're going to do is draw a picture of why he was tricked, and then you're going to write. Now, today, I'm going to show you how I would do that on a piece of notebook paper, okay? So I'm going to put that picture in my mind of why he was so surprised. I'm inferring that Bear is so surprised because he was sleeping the whole time, wasn't paying any attention. So, let me think. I'm going to use my notebook here, and I'm just going to sketch out what I think. So I'm going to start with Bear. Start with his head, and he's laying down. I'm also going to use what I remember from Janet Stevens' illustrations. That will really help me. Okay. Got his leg. So lazy. Get some claws in there. And his little ears to make him look more like a bear. All right, and his face. Now, to show that he's sleeping, I want to make sure I include that detail in his eyes. I'm going to draw little lines so that it looks like he is snoozing away. I could also even add a speech bubble with some Z's. Sometimes I remember in other books that I've looked at and read that they put a bunch of Z's when somebody's sleeping. So make that circle with a little V. Okay, now I want to add a little bit more to this setting because I'm doing this on a piece of paper and I have some crayons and some markers. I'm going to take some time with this. So in the story, he was snoozing in a chair on his front porch. So I'm going to add that front porch, I think. I'm going to draw a line to show some of the wood that he's sleeping on. And the porch had some pillars on the side, so I'm going to include those in my illustration. And then in front of him, when he was sleeping, the crops were growing and he was asleep. So I'm going to get green, and I'm going to make some little sprouts as they're starting to grow. And one of the ways I like to do that is kind of like a little heart, okay? Like skinny hearts. Okay. Try to grow them in rows to show they're sprouting. You could add some little stems in there if you wanted to. Okay. I could use perhaps like my brown crayon to add some soil or to color what color Bear is. He's kind of a blackish brown color, so I could layer a few colors on there. Oh, to show that he's on his front porch, or back porch, I should say, I'm going to add some windows there, kind of around his little speech bubble. Maybe one over here. Okay, just to add a little bit more to my picture. Now, you'll notice in my illustration, I didn't really leave enough space to write my ideas about why he was surprised. If you want to write on your paper as well, you could have drawn like a horizon line like we used to in our previous writing notebooks. But if you forget to, or if you don't want to, you can always just type it into Seesaw. So let's see what that would look like. All right, so back in Seesaw, if I wanted to include the drawing that I made on my own paper, I would click that camera button and snap a quick photograph and just place it right here in my drawing space. If I wanted to add my own writing over here, then I could use the pencil or the text. I'm going to use the text box here because I have a long idea, I should say. So I think that Bear was surprised because he was always sleeping, okay? I think Bear was surprised. Oh, he was surprised each time he was tricked. Each time he was tricked because he was always asleep. Period. Now, if I want to stretch that a little bit more, I'm going to grab that hand tool and I can pull it out to the side so it fits in that box a little bit better and easier for me to read. I think Bear was surprised each time he was tricked because he was always asleep. All right, once you've got your drawing and your writing in response to what you've inferred, click that green check to submit.